I've had a couple of really great successful guys, and of course some complete flops. I've had some take anywhere from like 4 to 5 months. I've had other guys come with dead audiences and go straight to 10K in like the first day, and like at zero. I think like finding the right people is 100% it. Like agency life for me, I mean, I'd say the first 6 months it boiled up to that point where I was like a pot of coffee. I had a pot of a literal. I don't know if you've seen the company Smeg. It's like this like retro branding coffee makers and appliances. So I had this like $250 retro coffee maker with like a pot. So I'd make a full pot of Bustelo espresso style coffee at 6 a.m. every day when I was living in my studio in Brooklyn. And I'd wake up and I'd just write for like 6 hours and drink a pot of coffee. I'd work out, I'd come back, and then I'd take sales calls and client calls from 12 to basically 6, 7. And I did that every day for like 90 days straight. I was like unbelievable burnout. And I'm like, okay, at this point, I understand why people quit the agency thing. So then I started hiring, and that's when it gets fun. It's when you hire and you're working with people you like, and it's more like a team thing. Because an agency can just you could do so many things with it because you have so much feedback loop with your clients that there's so many other products and services that you could start to add and softwares, and you could do like meetups and all sorts of cool, sick stuff. So yeah, agency can be a grind, but again, it's all about finding the right people, the right salespeople, which is why I just basically stopped hiring off of Twitter and just started hiring people in the serial sales community. Cause I'm like, every time I put out a tweet to hire, it's like 99% like horrible quality. But then, if you go through a community of people that are like more like vetted, it's so much easier. So that's why I find the right people more through you guys than anything.
Yeah. It's all about expectation setting too, man. Because like for you, example, you hire like content writers, right? And to hire some, like if you go on Indeed and you say, hey, I need a content writer, and then you're going to get a bunch of people that like, they probably went to school for some like creative degree and they think that they're qualified. Whereas I don't know where you found the guys that you have, but they're probably hopefully already versed in like Twitter specific content, and like it's just it's a completely different league. Same with the salespeople.
I think I think you have to, and hiring is like not hiring is basically the most important thing once you get your basic needs met, and you could hit like 10K a month, whatever. After that, like hiring is going to be the literal skill that separates a 10K a month there and a fucking billionaire. Like actually, I read this from Eric Sue, who's an 8-figure agency owner, and the last thing that Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk outsourced were like hiring. I think Elon Musk was hiring. I think it set up to 2,000 employees, and Bezos was up to like 4,000. They have a hand in the hiring, rather. It's basically the last thing you'll ever outsource as a CEO, which is you could extrapolate that to it's the skill that gets you to whatever your monetary goal is, whatever it is. And I have had some. I mean, at this point, I'm not going to call it luck, but I've had some really good hires. Like I've only had to fire one person ever. And it was honestly my fault for hiring him in the first place. I just didn't need the role. It wasn't because he was bad. But yeah, I think you have to go to the source. Like if I want a sales guy, now I go to a sales community. If I want a Twitter writer, I'm going to go on Twitter. It's kind of like dating. Like if you want a girl, like you need to get off Twitter, right? Like you need to go to the bar or something. So I think if you want to meet someone like-minded, go to the gym, etc. So I think it's kind of like that.
Dude, that's actually one of my least favorite things to do. And I don't know why. I think have you ever gone through a stint? You said you did get lucky, but you ever start interviewing for a role and everyone you talk to is like not what you're looking for, and you start getting like discouraged, and you're like, dude, like I'm wasting time, like I'm burning time away here.
I think my thing is that I prioritize culture before I even look at anything. So I won't even interview people who aren't a culture fit. So like one thing that I do is I ask for people's personality type before. I'm going to get like DEI sued here, but I ask for people's personality type beforehand. So I know that the writers that I need to hire have to be a certain personality type that I'm not going to dox on this podcast. But
Yeah.
like that's like straight up. Like if you can figure out, make everyone on your team take personality tests, you might find correlations. What I found is that all my writers are the same kind of personality, the same letters in the personality tag. So I was like, okay, now I could just filter all my applications for this. And if I find them on Twitter, and if I just like look through their stuff and kind of see that, okay, they're kind of a homie,
Yeah.
like they're interested in this, I can quickly find like it's narrowed down to like 2 or 3 people already. I got lucky with my most recent hire, or my second to most recent hire was a referral. The previous two have the same personality type. My ops team is all referral, so I think if you have referrals from within your team, they are gonna just do the culture fit for you because they wouldn't refer you someone that they don't want to work with.
Yeah.
So that's a great kind of two great hacks for hiring that I think. I mean, I invented the first one for sure, but yeah, I think they're pretty good.
That's super. I haven't dove into that stuff so much, like the personality test. I've taken them before, like for old jobs where I was a sales guy. And I remember, and more people should use this, I guess. But I remember I was like the top rep. I was in roofing sales, and I took that quiz, and they were like, "We need to go find more people that match Dylan's results." But I was going to say too, I've seen it. I've seen one other person do it, and it was funny. It was Taylor Welch was hiring a salesperson for like 200, 300K per year, like a big time sales role for this newer company that he has, and he was like, click here to apply. And the application was just a personality test. Like it wasn't like,
okay, so I didn't invent it. Sorry, Taylor.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know who started doing it first, but
yeah. Well, I think, you know what it is? It's one of those answers. You ever have those things? You might've seen them a lot on Twitter where like everybody comes to like the same realizations equally, and like everyone kind of thinks it's unique, but everyone comes to this realization at a certain level. It might just be one of those things. Like, I feel like everyone realizes certain things as they level up in the business game. So it might just be one of those.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I mean, it's super true, man. Like I've hired, between my partner and I, we have about 30 contractors under us in our agency now across all the teams.